Hey, what's going on folks? Lloyd here, backing up with another video. Before I start this video, I just want to thank all the new subscribers that I got last week. Thank you all for the support and whatnot. Helps me keep going and making videos and enjoying YouTube and interacting with you guys as much as I can. A lot of exciting and new things that's going to be happening in this channel in the upcoming months and year ahead. So hopefully you guys will stick around and follow me through this journey and whatnot. But if you're new here, or maybe YouTube randomly suggested my videos to you, then hi, my name is Lloyd and I make content surrounding tech, product reviews, vlogs, and other fun shenanigans. I try to upload 1 to 2 videos every week, so if you're not subscribed yet, hit that subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you won't miss a video that I upload every single week. So, Apple just concluded their third and final event of the year, and it's their One More Thing event, because when they say one more thing, there's usually something big happening. And by that, Apple means the M1 chip. This is definitely a giant leap and massively important transition for not only Apple but as well as the computing world. Now come to think about it, Apple's transition to the Apple Silicon and basically their own chipset is pretty disruptive and innovative at the same time for the computing world, but majority of the computers out there, yes, that includes the previous Macs, are running on an x86 chips made by either Intel or AMD. And for Apple to basically just be like, whatever, we'll make our own, that is super bold and disruptive. These M1 chips will basically allow a seamless integration between hardware and software. Not only that, but for the first time ever, users are now going to be able to run iOS and iPad applications using their Mac products with M1 chip. Basically, this gives Apple way more freedom and legroom because they're now designing their own chips for their own machines and for their own operating system. So, what does that mean? Well, basically this will allow Apple to have complete control more than ever of their entire ecosystem across the board. Now, that could be a good thing or a bad thing, depending on how you view Apple and their products. However, this is also going to be great for developers because they're now going to be able to bring their own products, their own creation on even more devices. While Apple didn't explicitly set it during the event, the M1 chip is partially based on the idea of the A14 Bionic chip found in the latest iPhones like iPhone 12, iPhone 12 Pro, Pro Max, as well as the iPad Air. But unlike many of the rumors that was floating around and all that stuff, this M1 chip is actually not the same chip as the A14 Bionic chip. Call it maybe like the A14X or A14 V2 or something like that. The reason being is because Apple mentioned 16 billion transistor counts, which is roughly about 35% or so more than the A14 Bionic chip. So what can that do? Basically this means it has a higher core count and hopefully a higher clock speed. This also means that like the A14 Bionic chip, the M1 chip is built using the same 5nm process technology similar to the A14 Bionic chip. Oh, and is also manufactured in Taiwan semiconductor company that makes the same AMD Ryzen chips. Now, Apple did mention that they are going to be developing a family of chips, so this leads a lot of us consumers that this is probably just the beginning. But what's really interesting though, and what caught my attention with this M1 chip thing that Apple just announced, is the POP technology, or package on a pack technology, not the other POP, which is Post Office Protocol 3. All that. Anyways, it's very interesting in a way because it's not unusual in a smartphone since, our smartphone basically have been built to have that kind of stuff. However, for a laptop, that is kind of weird in a good way. You see, on an average computer or laptop per se here, you get your CPU and then your GPU and a RAM all in a separate chips and all that stuff. But with the M1 chip, they're now taking all of that stuff and just combining it all in one chip, kind of like our smartphones. And with all of those stuff in a small 5nm process technology, basically, this will allow our laptops, future generation of laptops, to become even more smaller, thinner, and more efficient and faster than ever. And with all of the devices that they announced during the One More Thing event, it will basically allow the laptops to have more battery life and more energy saving capabilities. Now, as far as technical specs goes for the M1 chip, it features an 8-core CPU and an 8-core GPU. For the 8-core CPU, it has 4 high performance cores and 4 high efficiency cores, which is basically 3.5 times faster than their previous CPU that Apple was using. Now, as far as the graph that Apple showed during the event and all the other graphs that they showed, it doesn't really show much data as far as comparison and all that stuff with the latest PC chip. So I would probably just wait for the latest benchmark that comes out sometime next week or so for the latest Mac devices with M1 chip. And with an 8-core GPU, it will basically allow users to be able to use demanding graphically intensive tasks for their projects, such as editing multiple 4K video streams using Final Cut Pro. Apple also added 16-core neural engine for machine learning, and that's basically for the likes of image processing, voice recognition, video analysis, and all that good stuff. Now, Apple announced 3 devices of theirs that will come with this M1 chip. One is the beloved MacBook Air, 2 is the 13-inch MacBook Pro, and 3 is the Mac Mini. All the specs can be found via Apple's website, but I'll just flash it on the screen right here, and this is basically the MacBook Air and whatnot base line of, starting at $999, and then the Mac Mini right here for $699 and all that stuff. And of course the MacBook Pro 13-inch and all that stuff. Now, I also want to address the elephant in the room, which is also the M1 chip. While the M1 chip is really innovative, it can also be very, very frustrating. Maybe an evil thing too. Reason being is you're tied down to whatever you purchased. What this means is if you bought the Mac Mini and you only chose the 8 gig memory, but you realized that you actually need 16 gigs of memory, then you're basically screwed because the M1 chip is not user accessible and you're not going to be able to take it to an authorized Apple service provider and all that stuff to have them solder in a new bigger RAM. Which leads me to my next reason as to why I am holding off on purchasing the latest Mac devices that they just announced. Because I'll be waiting on some benchmarks results either through videos, news outlets, or maybe some random user on Reddit, just to see how powerful this new M1 chip is and if it truly lives up to the hype that Apple claims. It's a very exciting technology and definitely a giant leap for Apple and the computing world, like I said, and hopefully the benchmarks results will be able to help us decide whether to purchase the latest Mac devices or not. Oh, by the way, and if you are still watching this far out in the video, question of the day for you. Did you pre-order or are you thinking of purchasing in a few weeks the latest M1 chip Mac Mini or MacBook laptop? Or are you completely skipping it and just sticking with what you got right now? Comment down below on what you did or what your thoughts are. Really interested in seeing your answer. Anyways, that is all for this video, guys. For my next video, I'm going to be unboxing my pre-ordered iPhone 12 Pro Max. So if you haven't subscribed yet and you want to see that, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification icon so you won't miss that. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up and all that good stuff. You don't have to, but other than that, have a wonderful day and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.